Roses are red, violets are blue. Don't let wild pubes wreck you. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and our sponsors at Manscaped are here for you with the best tools to get your balls ready for the special occasion. This V-Day, it's time to join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code TAGS, TAGS, for 20% off and free shipping. What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex. I'm your host, Steve V, and this is episode 333 alongside Jeremy Ross Lopez. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Also joining us, of course, is Cody Maurice Doggett. It's the name game here. 3 names. How you doing, Cody?
Hello, darling. I'm doing well. That's the name of the game. 3 names is in, honey. Okay,
honey. Awesome. Well, just an update. I thought it was funny. You guys were asking me how my ankle is. I've talked about it. It's healing 2 weeks up post surgery. And do you guys ever know when you get a text from somebody, like maybe you gave your number out, but you don't know who that person is? Right
Yes.
before we went live on the show, I got a text message and it says, "We haven't seen each other in a long time, period. How's it going, Tony?" Well, I can't tell you who Tony is.
At least he
Do
left
you know
his name, okay?
You know what, Cody? Yes, because what does everybody always do? You go and look to see if there's a history on who this person. No history. We haven't talked before in this chat before ever.
Okay.
And the worst is when people don't give their name at all. They just assume you haven't talked to them ever or in months, and they're like nameless. At least he put Tony with a Y, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure I met a Tony last year or somewhere. I know I did, but I could not tell you one thing. And he says, "We haven't seen each other in a long time." Well, Tony, if you're listening, we're probably not going to see each other for a really long time because my leg is up in the air and not in a good way. And I'm assuming, yeah. So, I mean, but maybe after all this is, maybe I'll spring it on Tony and be like, "Hey."
You need to figure out who he is. Text him and be like, I don't know exactly who this is. It's been a long time. Just reach out.
Yeah, I feel like if you ask for a photo, it's not like too horrible.
Especially
Oh my
if
God,
there's
we're going to
no
talk
text
about
history.
we're going to be talking about asking for photos in a little bit here.
Oh,
But the thing
okay.
is,
Okay.
a little preview to the show here. But the thing is, maybe I do start asking him, "Hey, I just need to put a face to a name. It's been a minute." And then we start. I'm inevitably, what if he's like here in New York and he's, "How you doing? What's going on? When can I see you?" Well, I cannot see, now's not the time unless he just wants to suck me off while I'm on the couch with my leg up in the air. That's all that's going to happen. And I'm not my cutest right now.
Wait a minute.
I feel
But
fine.
that is a very acceptable alternative. I think that that's great. You know what? If somebody were to say, "Oh, I have this going on. You can just come over and, we can play around," I would be okay with that.
Yes,
We're
you can also
assuming-
postpone it to spring, which is like in 2 months.
That's true. Who knows when the last time we talked about it?
Right.
When I'm in a boot or something, at least it'll be
Yeah.
a little cuter. Yeah. You know what?
There are
Maybe I
options out
will.
there. You just explore the options, okay?
And bitch,
All right.
Lord knows you're gonna strap up that boot with some leather and be ready to go.
And make it work, people. Make it work. Yeah, you guys are right. All right. I will tune in this Wednesday when I have a follow-up. I'll text you, Jeremy, and let you know
Sounds
who
good.
Tony was. All right. The ongoing saga of Atlantis continues. I have some bad
Ooh.
news to report.
Oh, no.
Remember, and we were kind of wishing them the best on
Yeah.
Jeremy, do you heard about the Atlantis cruise that set sail 5,500?
I did. I saw photos. I was like, holy shit. I've never been on a cruise, so I'm totally a beach person. So the idea of being on a boat just like stuck on a boat, even though it's like an amazing one. I just don't have any like interest in. But I did see like crazy photos of the neon parties and all that stuff that takes place on the cruise.
Yeah, 5,500. I don't think I've been on that large. It just looks like a nonstop circuit party. Sadly, the first death, I repeat, the first death has been confirmed on board
What?
the Gay Atlantis Superstar Cruise.
Yikes.
Um, a death has been confirmed aboard Atlantis' 30th anniversary cruise on Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Seas. The Advocate has confirmed the death with Atlantis Events. Well, a rep from Atlanta said the death was, quote, nothing out of the ordinary. We'll talk
Wait,
about that in a second. They
what?
referred the Advocate to Royal Caribbean for comments on cause of death. So, I read through this. I'll paraphrase everything else. They still don't have. Somebody speculated it was like cardiac arrest in someone's room. We could speculate on drugs, on all that, I'm just assuming it wasn't COVID. But when a
Yeah.
rep tells the Advocate, quote, nothing out of the ordinary, Cody, what does that mean? A death is pretty extraordinary to happen.
Yeah, I cannot believe that this has happened. I would never foresee or think that anybody's death is or is ordinary.
Yeah.
I can't understand how they
Yeah.
could
Another
just
day on Atlantis
I
cruise. I
know,
mean, today,
right? It seems like they're trivializing this person's death, and I don't it blows my mind.
there was some research that came out that looked at the amount of deaths that happened on Atlantis cruises over I forget how long of a cycle, but it was up to like 9 deaths,
Yikes.
which to me is a lot in general anyway, and most of them are drug related. I mean, I don't know. What are your
Hmm.
thoughts on that, Jeremy?
I just think it's super sad. I mean, it's definitely a
Yeah.
celebratory trip for like everyone involved, and I just can't imagine like
The families.
yeah, and I just can't imagine like when you go and you're with like tons of friends and making new friends and meeting new people, I just think it's super sad. And then to return, and I just don't even know how you like go about handling that on a boat that's like set sail.
Yeah, right. How does everyone go on? And you
Yeah,
think about just all the family and people behind. It seems like such a senseless way to
definitely.
pass.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, our hearts and prayers go out to those on Atlantis that there's no more drama, and I hope everybody is good on. But we'll see. We'll keep following this story. It's the
Amen.
story that keeps giving, right, Cody? I mean, we keep talking
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. I mean,
Not
we'll
always for
keep.
the good.
Yes, hopefully.
Well, recently, senators and then the White House jumped in, urging a lifting of restrictions on gay and bisexual male blood donors. So there's apparently a national blood shortage due to the COVID-19, and senators, as well, like I said in a separate story, the White House are calling on the Food and Drug Administration to lift restrictions on blood donations by gay and bisexual men. For the first time, quote, the nation's leading blood donation organizations, including the Red Cross, have declared a national blood supply crisis due to the continued impact on COVID-19 pandemic.
Hmm.
Um, Many senators came out and they cite in 1983, it was all because of the AIDS crisis. The U.S. barred men who have sex with men from ever donating blood, like I said, in 1983. But in 2015, the FDA began allowing gay and bisexual men to donate blood if, this is a big if,
Hmm.
they had abstained from sex for a year. Okay, now. In 2020, in 2020, the abstinence period was shortened to 3 months. Okay, so we went from a year. So we went from nothing in 83 to 2015, a year to in 2020. And this is where I can vouch because I tried to donate blood in 2020, particularly when I knew I had the COVID virus and I had the antibodies, correct?
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, this will be great. I think I talked about it on the show back then. So they changed it to 3 months that you can't have sex. Well, now they're trying to clear even that 3-month period, because they're saying the abstinence period was shortened to 3 months, but that's still too long.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Benjamin, former chief medical officer of the American Red Cross, told NBC News, if you're infected with HIV for the first 1 to 3 weeks, you will test negative. So there's a scientific rationale for saying, well, if there's risk, there needs to be a delay, Benjamin said. But it's not 3 months. It's more like about 10 days.
Yeah.
So this goes on. I'll post all this on TAGSPodcast.com for you guys to read through it. But jumping over to a Reddit thread with all this current news, a writer wrote, Uncle Bruiser, who goes by Uncle Bruiser, I like that.
Yeah.
Would you donate blood if the laws changed? And he wrote, I feel a bit conflicted about this. And some of the comments wrote, including by some professionals in the medical industry, said, yes, but no. There's a little known fact being on PrEP, which disqualifies you from donation. You have to quit taking it for 90 days to donate. And it goes into the reasoning as to why, for reasoning as to PrEP for some people can affect people's liver. Well, you wouldn't want to donate blood if you were one of those people, even though you get your liver and kidneys checked every 3 months, and other things. That little period, that 99, that 1% perhaps, that it didn't cover it. I'm a little conflicted on this, and this was actually my caveat when I tried to donate. Is I, like a good, honest person here, when they said, are you on any drugs? I said, well, I take Truvada.
Mm-hmm.
And no one ever said that to me. And I spent like a long time in this clinic going through the process. And then they said, I'm sorry, you're ineligible to donate your blood. And I felt like I walked out of there with my tail between my legs, because I felt like here I was trying to do a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish somebody would have said something about the PrEP, or they would have, like, first things when you come in, if you're on any of these kind of drugs,
Right.
without making me go through that. Jeremy, would you, I guess, if this brings us to the question, would you get off of PrEP to donate blood for 90 days?
I don't think so, to be honest. As a personal decision, I've stayed on it for long enough that I don't think that I would.
Yeah, and I think that's really honest, and it's interesting too, because I'm currently, I'm not sure if I told this on the show yet, but when I went in because of the whole ankle, the surgery, I had to go see my primary care doctor, and he said, "So everything's the same. You're not taking any He's like, "Oh, you're taking PrEP." I said, "Oh, not taking PrEP right now." And he's like, "What do you mean? Why aren't you taking PrEP?" I said, well, there's a little thing called a cast on my leg right now, which isn't making me feel like the sexiest right now. So I kind of feel like I'm going to concentrate on recovery and focus on other things.
Right.
And maybe online, kind of like, Chatterbait or something like that. But I probably won't be needing this until he's like, okay. Like, he was surprised, and I was like surprised by that. But I don't think it'll be 90 days that I'll have to be off of it. So I still wouldn't probably, because I think because they're still, Cody, because they're still working through this. I mean, I'm glad that they're moving it from the 1983 to the 2015 ruling of a year to now 3 months, to even reducing that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? And I don't know, remember if you're on PrEP or not.
I'm on PrEP. And I think that they should trust the science as far as this is concerned, and just move the date to 10 days. That sounds like the rational thing to do. And
Right.
I don't think that I would even donate blood, even if they did move it, because it screams of homophobia. Because I feel like, straight people get HIV as well. So why isn't this in effect for them? Why is it just for gay people that this rule regulation is in effect? It's not just us. And I think that we need to take that into account. I think it should be 10 days for everybody. They have to abstain from sex for 10 days.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at some of the comments somebody wrote. Yep, most guys on PrEP, one wrote, outrageousness, wrote, most guys on PrEP take it so they can bareback anyone and everyone,
Oh my
though
goodness.
they ignore all the other stuff you can catch. It's actually hilarious. That's a little negative way of looking at
Judgy.
it, I think. A judgy. Yeah. Yeah. I don't, I think, yeah. I don't know what else to say about this, but I just think, yeah, I just think I was just so turned off by the process of trying to donate and do a good thing. And I like that they're moving forward, but it just reminds us how backwards we still are. Cody, I agree with you. Homophobic old laws. There has to be a caveat around all this. I think that we should find a workaround at some point, you know. And the other thing is, it's an honor system, right? I mean, I could have said, no, I'm not on any drug when I was in there and probably would have donated. And knowing my sexual practices and knowing that my liver's okay, but I could have said, nope, not on anything. And they would have taken my blood, which had antibodies for a COVID virus. And I probably could have helped with saving some lives there. But I think it's an honor system. So we'll see how this plays out.
And don't they
I don't
test
know.
all the blood anyway?
Yeah, I would think that. I don't know the answer to that, but I would assume they would, right?
Yeah. I don't understand.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, why not just take it? And if there's a way to test it, we need a doctor professional to answer this question. Any of our doctors who know
We are
about
not
this stuff?
doctors for sure.
We do not. We don't play them on this show. We don't even try and act like it. We see doctors.
I play them sometimes at night, but that's
that's a whole nother. Yes, exactly. All right. Well, but seriously, if anybody knows anything about this, let us know, because we really would like to know that. That's a good inflection, I think, that would add to the conversation. Well, recently there was guys came to Reddit, and one guy asked, gay guys describe the adult content they want more of. So on a Reddit thread, after one user asked gay bros what kind of content they want to see more of, commentators offered adult filmmakers plenty of free advice. And here's some of the things that they said they want to see more of. And then I want to hear, what would you want to see more of?
Okay.
In a game we'll play.
Oh.
All right. So here's what some of them said. They want to see more facial expressions. And you go, what? Facial expressions? Quote, more facial expressions. I want to see what face you make during sex. Okay. I want to see what the bottom's face looks like during the initial penetration. Ow. Do you really want to? Because that's not always the best. It's a little like it's like getting a COVID vaccination shot. Like, oh God, please hold it. And I'm looking away. And then I'm like, okay, it's over. Oh, but it's not. The passion in the eyes usually sells the acting for me, he continues. Somebody else wrote, true amateur content, but with faces visible. Somebody wanted more bottom's point of view, and I want to see the top's face, preferably moaning and saying hot things. You know what? I like that one's thoughtful comment, and I agree with that last one. I like the POV of both top and bottom and the moaning. Others wrote they want to see variety, so role play or just softcore messing around. Someone wrote, feels like every adult video is 30 seconds of... I like how they broke this down too, by the way. 30 seconds of kissing in the nude, 1 minute of soulless oral sex, and 25 minutes of bored-looking anal sex. Wow, that's the breakdown.
Hit the nail on the head on that one.
Hit the nail on the head. Somebody else wrote they want to see more outdoor play. The risk of getting caught is a huge turn on. That one I like a lot too.
Yeah.
And then people wrote romance. I won't read all these out, but they want to see a little bit more POV snuggling, no sex, just someone lying in your chest. Okay.
That is a good one.
Just two guys making out, somebody else. And then there's a few other like storylines. I don't know. Jeremy, what any of these resonate with what you'd want to see? I'm assuming the amateur part of it you'd like to see more of, but you tell us.
I definitely think the amateur part. I love the outdoor part. I agree with the like a little bit more chemistry and kissing, and a little bit more of a foreplay rather than just like the jackrabbit part of the anal sex, which I do feel like ends up being, like they said, the majority of uh, the porn in general.
Yeah, that jackrabbit sex part, which we all think is kind of the meat and potatoes of sex at times, or the creme de la creme,
I'm guilty.
is, you know what? I do like it, but I do notice myself, I do notice that person that did such a good job of ratioing it out, that in what may be the bulk of the video of that, I skip to the parts that I like. Like, I like certain types of jackhammering. If it's like a really hung top and his balls are flapping against the bottom, I like to see that kind
Yep.
versus maybe missionary, where I can't, maybe they're not doing a good enough job. Like, you can't really see that, and then the face. And so there's certain ones that I want to see more jackhammering of, and half the time it's the one I'll get like 3 seconds of really good pounding from behind, which I like, and then they go back to, some part of jackhammering that I don't like. I don't know, Cody, what would you like to see more of, or what aren't you seeing
Well,
enough of?
I think that they have completely eliminated storylines from porn, and I need the exposition. And maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I need to know how they got into this situation in the bed of them having sex or wherever they're having the sex at. I think that needs to come back. I love to see it. I think that it only helps to heighten the connection and the chemistry, which I think is also missing too. I think I need to see more chemistry, and the moans and the groans is something that I love to see in porn. What about you, Steve? I don't know if you told us what you want to see more of.
Well, I'm going to piggyback and tell you based on what you just said right now. And one of the things, maybe Jeremy, you'll agree with me. I don't know if you still have some OnlyFans subscriptions,
I do,
but
yeah.
yeah. So one of the things I like about OnlyFans right now is if you like somebody and you like the content that they produce, you can message them and kind of give your 2 cents. Now, they may not listen to you or do what you say, but chances are you're already following because you like the content that they produce.
Right.
For example, I follow a guy, Nick's Lucky Charms, and in general, he is into feet, and he's handsome himself in his own right, right?
Googling him right
And
now.
yeah, he's really sexy himself, but he like loves worshiping feet, and he really gets a good selection of them. But one of the things you can do on OnlyFans is write a whole description on how the scene is about to come about. And inevitably, one time it wasn't even about the feet; it was he was gonna, and he's really lucky about getting like his dentist in one of the scenes, and he writes this whole paragraph, like 3 to 5 paragraphs on, I've been flirting with my dentist for all these months. We've had this whole connection every time I go in there, and I finally got the nerve, whether this is made up or not, but he finally gets the nerve up, and he's writing all this out. And you guys are in for a treat, because I went in for an appointment, and this was planned, but I was his last appointment, I assumed, because he locked all the doors. And they've had sex in a like a real dental office, and it was full on, and it was super hot. And that written out description on the preface, or the luring you in as a reader, as a subscriber, I was totally into it. It was so hot, so sexy. And he does a lot of those that you maybe don't get in just
Nice.
porn.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was very specific too. So in other words, rather than going to, one of the porn companies where they create sort of this guy, I already like his content. I like him. And chances are I'm going to like whatever his current video is. And I think he's found it in a way that's what I'm finding as we're like coming on our 5-year anniversary. You can curate what your audience really likes. And I think that's curated sex like that is what I like. And following, if I really like you, then I'm going to follow you on an OnlyFans. What's your experience, Jeremy, on the OnlyFans? And didn't you have a story once you told where you suggested something?
Yeah, and they actually did it. So I suggested
Really?
It was I like the ones that are like very, very immature, so not like they don't have the overhead lighting and all that stuff, where some of them like really are so good at it at home that
Hmm.
it looks like it's a professional studio. So there was this like white blonde guy that I reached out to, and he was like, "Do you have any recommendations?" And I was like, "What about like a naked workout video? Like literally just
Oh.
lifting weights and doing squats, but like
Oh,
completely butt ass naked." And
and I'm
he,
assuming you love his
of
ass.
course, and he did it all for me, and I loved it, and it was so
Yes.
cool. And then he put it on his page, and then he sent it to me personally as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
was
That's
cool.
exactly, so you can
That's
actually, that's
awesome.
the whole thing is you can, I mean, Jeremy's like so lucky that he asked for it and he got what he wanted, but you can also follow, there's a guy that I follow now who I think I talked about it before, Rafael Aledenkar. We talked
Hmm.
about him before.
Love him.
I've saw him to get massages in the past. He has a huge dick,
Everybody knows
and
her.
yeah. Well, talk about jackhammering, pounding. This is what he does. And I remember prior to my accident, I decided to message him because he seems like in his current content, because I subscribe to it, it's he does another one that does a great description of saw this one outside of Hell's Kitchen, walking along the street outside of my apartment,
Hmm.
invited him in, he was begging for, it's, or met this guy online, whether these are like real stories or
Yeah,
slightly fluffed up or not, they're really great written pieces. The power of the word,
It
y'all,
is. The
that
story gets you ramped up.
gets you
Yeah.
in, so that when you do press play, you're kind of in this, he set the scene just like a good acting moment. And so I decided, well, if he's meeting up with these guys, I could message him, since I'm a subscriber, and be like, hey, I used to see you when I used to get a massage. I did. And lo and behold, it took a while, but I did get a response. And he said, oh, hey, he didn't remember me. And I didn't send a picture. He said, send a picture to refresh my memory, which was leading me to think, oh, there's a chance that maybe he will remember me and I could be in one of these videos, right?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then the ankle broke. So again, back to Jeremy's wait till spring. I will come back at it when I may take him up on that and say, who knows, but maybe I could curate my own scene out of it. So what do you think of all that, Cody?
It sounds hot to me. And to piggyback on what Jeremy said, I think that, sometimes coming up with the OnlyFans content and keeping it fresh and new can be a little bit trying. I think it's not always easy to come up with new content. So I think the suggestion from the fans is a wonderful thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And don't forget, you can always ask us for advice or sex relationship advice. Just DM us or email us at TAGSPodcast, because we are here for you and love giving solicited advice. Hey guys, your buddy Steve V here, host of Talk About Gay Sex, and I'm here to talk about clean balls and why it's so important, especially as we come upon Valentine's Day. Well, even if you're like myself this V-Day and you're your own V-Day celebration, that's right, I am keeping things clean down under, not letting things get out of whack. It's just so important to feel good for yourself. And I know I'm cleaner down there when I'm manscaped. That's just the truth. That's the honest truth. If the holidays went by so quickly, did you remember to take care of your package with the best tools for the job? The thing that works for me best is Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0. You get everything in this by Manscaped. Every guy needs this in their life to make each and every day just a little more special. I'm talking about the number one product in the package, which is the Lawnmower 4.0. It's an electric trimmer designed to trim hair on loose skin. And get this, the trimmer's advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate balls. I use this all the time. It has a 4000K LED spotlight so you can shave anywhere where your heart desires. Did I mention it's waterproof? So important. This package also includes the Weed Whacker, also important nose and ear hair trimmer to whack all the worst of your weeds. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts. I'm talking about the Shed travel bag and the anti-chafing boxer briefs to keep your boys stored comfortably. To complete the perfect package for your package are liquid formulations. Boy, I love these. The Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner. Start your day off with the deodorant for your boys. Then stay cool all day with toner to keep you feeling your best all day and night. These are working for me so well these days. These formulations will also have your balls smelling like king of the big day. And don't forget to smell good not only around your balls, but all over. Made with your signature scent, the Manscaped Refined Cologne will complement your collection with smell perfection. Manscaped created their products for a night just like this and will make your V-Day date say, wow, great set of balls you have there. So here you go. Go to Manscaped for our exclusive offer to get 20% off plus free shipping with the code TAGS, THES. Your balls and guy will thank you. Get 20% off again plus free shipping with the code TAGS, TAGS at manscaped.com. So check that out. Well, Sex and the City and Just Like That are in the news right now. One of our listeners sent us a link to it that I couldn't help but talking about. By the way, are you guys watching And Just Like That?
Yes.
No, I haven't
Okay.
seen it.
No, oh,
I'm
I'm
not
loving
caught
it.
up
Are you?
though.
Okay, it's getting like mixed reviews, but I'm loving it. By the way,
I really like
but
it.
I really like it a lot. All right, well, there's a man who's blaming Sex and the City, the original, for ruining his penis.
Wait, what?
There was a Sex and the City episode which slandered circumcised penises, and it made one man feel so shamed that he underwent a circumcision, uncircumcised, it must be. It made one man feel so ashamed that he underwent a circumcision. It was an episode where Charlotte is dating a guy and she meets a guy and she's like, ew, it was like so much extra skin down there. We're talking about
I remember.
1999.
Yeah.
Old Dog, Old Dog's New Dicks is the name of the episode if you guys want to look that up.
Mm-hmm.
And the main characters debate whether it's right for partners to try and change for each other. That's kind of the main part of it. Charlotte's character is dating a guy who was uncircumcised and she's kind of disgusted by it. And somebody wrote
Whack.
Charlotte
Whack.
Charlotte screwing up her nose and saying there was so much skin it was like a Shar-Pei.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
and then
God.
Miranda said it's not normal to be uncircumcised. On and it caused this guy, according to this article, that he went and got it removed, and so he's circumcised now, and now he's lamenting the fact that he has less, he did it for a TV show, and also because he has less feeling down there. There's a lot to unpack on this one.
I'm like, where is he taking this now?
First of all, we've got to, keep it in perspective.
Yeah.
The 90s were the 90s, and you know what I mean? Sex and the City has gone on record to say that they didn't get it all right back then. Apparently there was no person of color that lived in New York City. And
Nicole
and
Ari Parker is the first one, so
okay, thank you very much. And just like that, they're trying to make up for past time, and I think
Just like
and they're doing a good job of it in the new reboot. But come on, to make a decision that he says based on a TV show. Wow. I'm assuming you guys, how do you guys feel? That's such an age-old thing, circumcision, uncircumcision. Do you have a preference, Jeremy?
I don't. It doesn't matter to me. The only preference that I have is that people that are uncircumcised are super clean, because
yeah.
believe me, I have been with guys that are not the cleansliest and they think that people like that. And there are some guys that's a fetish for them, but for me, being freshly showered and clean is top priority.
Yeah.
regardless of being circumcised or any of that. So that's definitely not a fetish for me, but for me it doesn't matter. I'm not like biased on I can't sleep with you if you have it or if you don't, and it's not like it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, it seems like Cody's such an age-old
Oh yeah.
thing. And you know what? And just in hearing Jeremy's comments on this, it got me thinking because this was back in the 90s. I'm wondering if it's because, because a lot of people did travel back in the day, but maybe not as much. We weren't this might be the wrong statement, but maybe we weren't as international as we
Hmm.
were
Yeah.
or open back then. Now it seems like you can get a flight anywhere, and if you go to Europe, for example,
Yep.
or Latin America, you're going to see a lot of uncircumcised dicks.
Yep.
I mean, it's just kind of the case.
That's the
So
way it
I'm
goes.
wondering if it was a sign of the times back then. And then there's those that just love it. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that was my response. That was my immediate thought, was that in America, it's like a bonus surprise to have a uncircumcised dick, and you're like, oh, look, it's Christmas or what have you. But if you were to go, I've slept with several men in the UK and France, and that's the norm over there. So I love it. I'm not biased, just like Jeremy is. A beautiful dick is a beautiful dick.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's great. So well, I have a boyfriend, so don't bring your uncircumcised penises over here, but you can send me pics.
Well, it's so funny to piggyback off of that last story because the new reboot, as we've been talking about, and just like that, currently is making up for lost time. And now they have full frontal male nudity. On the recent episode, they had a guy that opened up the door naked, dropped his towel by accident, and it was flopping right there for you. Also, Charlotte is back in her current Harry, her husband, she's on her knees to I think I don't know if she was going to give him a blowjob or what, but
Uh-huh.
on a recent episode, she's on her knees and Harry's dick plops out. We can confirm that it's a
What?
prosthetic that he had
Okay.
come out, and I'm looking at it now. It's quite big to be. I mean, he chose to have a prosthetic that you can't tell if it's circumcised or not because it's semi hard.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
The hot guy that is on Corey Saucier drops his towel on the doorstep in what can be described as delicious. It's soft and it's definitely circumcised. So they haven't really learned their lesson there because they could have made up for that and got an uncircumcised guy on the real guy. And this one looks very real.
And
It's
made
like
everything
soft and
okay.
it made everything okay. Yeah, yeah. I will post these on TAGSPodcast.com, but it still goes back to the conversation you and I were having, Cody, on a recent episode of Tags Live, where White Lotus is doing ass eating, back to the ass, right? So full
My favorite
frontal, the
subject.
straights are, yeah. I think we're just a little late to the
Oh
game
my
over
god, I
here.
just saw what's his name? Andy Cohen was interviewing him on Watch What
That's what we
Happens
were
Live.
talking about. What did you think of
And I
that?
was like, who is this hottie? So I remember you telling me to watch White Lotus, and I don't have
Yes.
HBO Max. So I was like looking for it on another platform. And then I came across the ass eating thing when Andy said it. I was like, I have to Google this immediately because he's so cute, the guy.
So
And
cute.
then I saw the scene and everything, and I was like, oh my god, I definitely have to watch this show.
It's so good. Sorry, Cody. We
I
love it.
mean,
I love it.
it's not that I
You need
hate it. It's just that it didn't. I have to give it another chance. I'm gonna get in. I'll try and get into it.
he has a lot to catch up to, right?
Like 3 shows to get into and multiple seasons. So I'll see you guys next year. All right.
Okay. All right. Yes, so fun. All right, moving on. So on a recent Reddit thread, this really caught my attention when especially guys are online a lot and on Grindr and so forth. A writer writes, when a guy asks for your dick or D or other privates, but you don't want to send those pics, do you apologize to him? The person writes, I've always said, sorry, I can't send you my dick pic nudes because I don't like sending my dick pic nudes to random people. Somebody wrote, "Why would you apologize?" And he wrote, "Because I feel guilty. I don't know what's wrong with me, but it's hard for me to say no. That's why I'm always apologizing to them first whenever you ask me for my dick pics or nudes. And sometimes when I say no, I won't, they get mad and say something nasty to me." It goes on, and it reminded me, I've said before countless times that I just don't do so well on the apps. That's
Mhm.
why, you know, I can't wait to get back in the bars this spring. This spring to a bar in your town. I will be doing a world tour.
Yes.
But yeah, making up for lost time. But the last time I went on there, I remember having a correspondence with the guy. He was interested, I was interested, and then all of a sudden, and by the way, he had access to all of my pics. So
Mhm.
my regular pics and then my private
Your
pics,
private
which
album
had dick
pics?
pics. Yep, private album pics, ass, dick. Some of them were, really professionally done, but
Get it.
I did myself, right?
Uh-huh.
And you can tell when one's professionally done and when you've done it yourself.
Yeah.
He said, "Can you send me like a nude pic of yourself?" I said, "Well, what about the ones that are all there? Like, what's wrong with that? Don't you like those?
Mhm.
What's the matter with that?" I just gave you a whole menu selection. Now you want to order off the menu? What? That don't work like that.
This is not
Order
Burger
off the
King.
menu. It's restaurant week. This is all you get.
You can't have it your way, sir. Sorry. This
Thank
is
you
not
very
Burger
much.
King.
And there's a fee, I might add, that for this request.
Yes.
But so I said, I don't know. I think I ignored him because I was like, what's not good about those that are up there? And I don't know that I really got a sufficient response. What are your thoughts on that, Jeremy? About, do you send, or should you feel bad about
No,
it?
I
Or
definitely don't apologize, and I send whatever the hell I want to, and if you don't
and
like
that's what
it,
you get.
then move to the next person. Like,
That's right.
yeah. If you
Have
want
you ever
no, I
ha-
haven't ever like apologized for not providing someone with what they request.
or gotten people pushing it a little bit, like, "Oh, hey, so can you send a little, I want to see more of this." Have you ever had that?
I have, but I also just like when you give a direct response, I feel like they don't keep adamant. So
Okay.
like maybe they don't care enough, or I don't know, but I just don't take it that seriously. If you don't like what you saw already, then just keep it moving.
Yeah.
You know what? That's really good advice too, is give a direct response, put a period on it,
Mhm.
and and if they don't respond beyond that, then leave it, move on. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they should move on too.
Yeah, there's always going to be someone like better looking or whatever, and I don't even take that into consideration, but I'm just saying like I do what is comfortable for me, and if that doesn't work for someone else, then I'm just not interested. And the
Yeah,
feeling's probably mutual.
Nice.
exactly. This seems to also happen on dating sites too. I've had straight friends of mine say where they'll have all these pictures on, and they look good in them. Some of my girlfriends, they're not glam shots, but
Mhm.
they're the pictures that they want out there for the dating thing, and then inevitably they'll g- they'll go back and forth. I've had examples of my girlfriends telling me they'll have conversations for a while, and my girlfriend will be, "Well, do you want to get a drink? Do you want to meet for a coffee? Whatever." And, "Well, can you send me another picture of you?" It's like, what out of those pictures? Why are we stringing this along? Either you want to meet or you don't want to meet, or
Yeah.
fuck off.
Right.
Option C. And you know what? That's an option. Cody, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I am not shy. When I was on the dating apps, I used to hand out nudes like
They
candy
were
on
hot
Halloween.
cakes.
You can look
I think I have a couple of them in my stored
probably.
bag.
Oh Lord.
So I was not shy about this. You can look at my Instagram and tell that I am not a shy person, and I love my body, and I love it when people admire my body, right? So if you're asking for more and more and more and more pics, and you're not on like reciprocating it, then that's a red flag for me that you're probably a catfish anyway, and I need to move on, and you need to move on to catfishing somebody else.
Ooh, catfishing. And there's some really good. I'm all into these, I'm watching a lot of TV right now. And there's a lot of good Criminal Minds kind of where they follow, and catfishing is one of them. I'm so obsessed with those. But you're right, it's a thing too. And I think my mind doesn't think in those ways, but there's a lot of people catfishing out there
Oh
too. It's
yeah.
really disturbing. Yeah, I just think, yeah. So you obviously you're not handing out those shots anymore like hotcakes.
I'm
You
not
do
I'm
serve a
not on any apps at all. But on Instagram, you can go to my Instagram and see all the beautiful body shots you want.
chest pics,
But no,
yeah.
but no ass or dick pics anymore, unfortunately. I scroll through my pictures sometime and remember them fondly. Like, oh, I remember when I sent this out. Oh, this was a beautiful picture of my penis. I could send to my boyfriend now. I do that sometimes.
I think it's ultimately it's rude, and it's not rude. It's the freaking like thing, sex app, so people can ask whatever they want.
Right.
But does it mean I'm going to fulfill that request?
That's
I
right.
think just because someone else doesn't mean you have to do it, and to Jeremy it, put a period on it. If they come back, if they really are interested, they'll come back, and if not, move on. It's so easy to move on those
Right.
things.
Yep. Know your boundaries and what you're willing to do as well.
Exactly. And lastly, one of my favorite websites, Cocktail and Cock Talk, posted they noticed a current trend about ripped jeans.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be a trend that, and this is based in Britain. So they write very funny. Sometimes I'll just read a little bit of what they wrote. There are some trends that we hate from the outset, calling them chuggy. That's I'm not sure. That's maybe a British thing.
What?
Only 90s kids get them. Millennials, you're in the late 20s at best. Grow up. Ripped jeans on their own? Question mark. No, but catching a cock peeping out of some. Now we're listening. They write. Some fashionistas would call these jeans distressed. Think that infamous Kanye West jumper that had been run through a shredder, but we'd prefer to think of them as distracting, as it'll be hard to take our eyes off someone airing out their meat for all of us to see. And then they write, they want to know what you think of the ripped jeans thread. And the pictures that they show, I will post this on TAGSPodcast.com. At first I was like, oh no, it's so like racy, or not racy, just tacky kind of. But over the summer, or when I was in Mexico in November, I have these jean shorts that are ripped in certain parts. And my new friends that I met at the time pointed out that, it's like ripped right at where your ball sack is. And I was like, oh shit. And I was going to throw them out, but I think I'm going to keep
Bitch,
them.
you knew. Okay, wait a minute.
Oh. I don't think I
You
knew
did
the
that on purpose.
severity. I don't think I knew the severity of the current rip.
Oh God, air those long and strong balls out.
Those need to be aired out. And now I'm keeping them, and I can't wait to. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on, Jeremy? You talk about how you do not wear underwear underneath your jeans. What are your thoughts on ripped jeans and something peeking out?
I think it's hot, and I have
Mm.
no problem with it at all.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny because you said the last time you have to wash your jeans a little bit more often than not when you don't wear underwear.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
if you have a little pocket going on there, a little rip tear, it's going to have some air to breathe through, and you might not have to wash them as often than you think. So keep
Yes.
that in mind. You
Right.
might want to do a little tear in there somewhere. Cody, what are your thoughts?
I love it. So I was on a train one time and there was this really hot guy and it wasn't a tear, like a purposeful tear, I guess, but you know how when you overwear jeans, right where the crotch is, it wears really thin. and he didn't have any underwear on, and it was worn thin, and you could just see everything. And I rode the train until he got off because I wanted to look at his dick the entire time.
You went a couple extra stops?
I sure did, and I
That
enjoyed
was some
every
good
minute.
meat.
He was so high. He was a beautiful, beautiful man. I should have probably went over and spoken to him.
Bitch went all the way to Queens for
I
that
know.
And she lives in Brooklyn.
And I do live in
people.
Brooklyn. I love it.
You know, you might not remember this, Cody, but we almost fought over the same denim shorts, but you bought them, which I'm still jealous that you own them, and they have a built-in. This is much more strategic.
Did we fight over
and
them?
planned. Well, you bought them, and I'm like, I saw those, and I wanted those, and you said you can get them too for $68,
and you
they
can
were
still
a
get
pair of
them.
denim. Yeah, and they zipper all the way to the ass, and you can.
Yep.
Do you still own those?
I do, and I wear. They're my favorite shorts to wear in the summertime. They fit so well.
Describe
then,
them.
So they're black, and they're like almost like corduroy, but not really. And they come to about mid thigh, and they fit so well. They make my ass look amazing. It makes it pop, and then
Where's the zipper though?
the
Get to the
added
good part.
bonus is that there's a zipper right
We
where
don't
your
care that they're corduroy.
There's a zipper right where your butt crack is. So, and I'm not used it in any sexual way just yet. Just
Are
to
those
air out.
Nasty Pig?
They are.
You know they made a pair.
Cell Block 13 or Timoteo, I believe. Yeah,
Oh,
they're
Timoteo,
so
yeah.
good. Yeah, and they're so cute. So I need another pair. I was looking at them.
Hey, if whatever brand makes them, if you're listening, we'd like a pair.
Yes.
To try them out and promote.
We will promote them.
Absolutely. Have it all hang out. Oh my God, this has been so much fun. Thanks guys for playing. As always, you can follow my co-host. You can follow Jeremy Ross Lopez on Instagram at jrosslopez, and follow Cody at KMD Coaching. He's a life coach, KMD Coaching, or Mr. Maurice. And don't forget, follow us on TikTok and Instagram at TAGSPodcast. New material all week long. Thanks, guys. So much fun.
You.
Always
Yes.
fun.
Yes.
5-year anniversary coming up. We've got a live broadcast coming to you 2 weeks in a row. We'll let you know more about that starting February 7th. In the meantime, continue having
Hot gay
gay
sex.
sex. Yeah.